Welcome to the Young Turks. Happy holidays, everybody. I'm in a good mood. Okay, Jake Ugrani, Kasparian with you guys. Donald Trump, tick, 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 tick. Lots of trouble. So we're gonna break down his hilarious Mike Flynn excuses and lies a little bit later. Mike Flynn's in some good amount of trouble, which puts Trump in even further trouble, and it goes on and on. So Green New Deal, yeah, hello, it's awesome. And it turns out all Americans agree, including Republicans. That's a little bit later in the program. Of course, mainstream media will do alternative facts instead, and we'll tell you, oh, no, it's a fringe position. Okay, we're gonna break down the numbers for you guys. It's a fantastic news. Okay, before we do anything else though, I need to see a thermometer. I need it in the building. We got a membership drive. We got a membership drive going on. Hello, 39,576.
We're so close.
We are. We're trying to get to 40,000 by the end of the year. Wrong. Let's get to 40,000 by the end of the week. We can do that. Can I see 39,600 by the end of this show? Of course come on, brothers and sisters. Let's do it. Everybody all at once, tyt.com/jank. Okay.
How are we doing with that?
I don't know. I haven't got an update. Now I'm getting kind of depressed, so I'm not asking for the updates as much.
I want the update.
All of a sudden.
He thinks it's all about him.
Okay. So, no, it's all about you guys. Okay, she's never understood that. That's why tyt.com/jank.
Are you kidding me right now?
Okay, anyways, seriously, Amplify program, you guys are killing it, murdering it. Am I allowed to say that? Brian Wagner from Townsend, Maryland, $150. You're gonna get a t-shirt. Journalism students are gonna get TYT membership. Guess who else is gonna get TYT membership? Mark Maron, his podcast, gone. So Young Turks member who wished to remain anonymous gave money for that, $500. Bless your hearts. Alan Moser from Lakewood, Colorado, $150. TJ McGill from Jamaica Plain, Massachusetts, $150. Amanda Elise Becker from Newark, Delaware. How's that for a twist? $150. Melissa from Jacksonville Beach, Florida, $150. Ronald Joseph from Centennial, Colorado, $150. Anonymous, another anonymous, $150. Okay, so tyt.com/amplify. Yes, we are spreading a progressive message to the journalists of the future. Right wing, proceed to safe space. Okay, where you can go ahead and melt away. And yes, we are getting it to the media. I don't know how Mark's gonna react. He's always held grudges, as my wife says, against us for what he perceives to be replacing him on Air America.
Who, Mark Maron?
Yeah, and that was a long time ago, though. I don't know if he still has the grudges.
That is like the last thing anyone should ever have a grudge about. I mean, it's not like we're rolling in the dough with that Air America money.
Oh yeah. Well, Mark, man, you got off the gravy train at the wrong time, brother. We all got rich afterwards. No, we didn't. Okay, anyways, by the way, tonight on the post game, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, for the first time, I disagree with her.
I knew it. I can't wait for the post-game show. You're the worst.
Okay, but she did. But even though I overall disagree with her, there is one thing she said in there that was stunningly correct. So that's in the postgame. That's for the members. Hey, we give the members more. We got to, right? It's $4.99. You can do that. In fact, right now it's free. tyt.com/holiday gets you a week-long free trial. This is a good time to scam us. Get in there, watch Hostmates. Oh, it got dropped last night. Members are going nuts over it. If you're a member, please check that out. I think you're gonna love it. Last thing, I don't know what these shoptyt.com folks are doing. Okay, they continue the 20% off sale. You got to use a promo code HOLIDAY. I guess you need to go nuts. That's weird. I don't know why they're continuing it. Somebody's got to put an end to this. But use the code HOLIDAYS, 22% off. You know what it's off of? Everything, everything. It's got to go.
I know why they're doing it. They need to give people a compelling reason to buy that ugly Christmas sweater that features your face.
A friend of mine just sent me a picture of him wearing it at his holiday party in his office. It's going to be a big hit.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
And it's, by the way, my face one is not the only sweater we have. We have other ones related to home of progressives, etc. So check that out at shoptyt.com. All right, Casper, what's next?
All right, we have a huge news show for you today. Lots of topics, including an update on the sentencing for Michael Flynn. But before we get to that, I actually wanted to have a little bit of fun. It was brought to my attention that Trump's re-election campaign has not only begun, but it has begun in some creative ways. And so recently an ad was put out there featuring his campaign supporters and something that people can do to thank the president. Take a look.
President Trump has achieved more during his time in office than any president in history. And that is why I need every Trump supporter to pick up the phone right now and deliver a personal thank you to your president. We have a booming economy, historic low unemployment, including the lowest unemployment rate for minorities in history. We are bringing jobs back to America through new trade deals, and the world is a safer place. We need to let President Trump know that we appreciate what he's doing for America. I need you to call the number on your screen and deliver a thank you to President Trump. Call or go online now.
Call 800-684-3043 now and press 1 to tell President Trump thank you.
Thank you, President Trump.
Thank you, President Trump.
Thank you, President Trump.
President Trump needs to hear from his supporters by calling 800-684-3043 or visit donaldjtrump.com/TV to thank President Donald Trump.
Okay, two of my favorite things from that ad. First was after listing a number of things that Donald Trump didn't actually accomplish, he said that Trump has made the world a safer place, unless you're a Washington Post journalist who gets murdered and dismembered by the Saudi royals. Yeah. Not a safer place for those people. Other thing is, there was one fact in that, and that fact was, Trump needs to hear from his supporters.
That's true.
He needs to hear how much you love him because he has the thinnest skin ever. But you know what? I think that it was a compelling video, and it actually it made me want to call and thank Trump.
Oh yeah.
And I wanted to share that call with you guys. So let's take a look.
Thank you for calling to show your support for President Trump and thank him for his efforts to make America great again. After the tone, state your name and leave a brief thank you message for President Trump. Again, state your name and say thank you after the tone.
Hey, what's up, individual one? My name's Anna, and I just want to thank you so much for leading the effort in dismantling the Affordable Care Act. You know, my mom had kidney transplant surgery 2 years ago, so she's got a very serious pre-existing condition. But thanks to you and congressional Republicans, people like my mom can look forward to having their private insurance companies drop them for pre-existing conditions. So thanks for that. I'm especially impressed by your determination to drill and mine in national parks. People often say that you don't have enough experience to be president, but those people probably don't know that you've had a lifetime of drilling other women behind your wife's back. Also, don't think I forgot about those tax cuts for your rich buddies. I mean, I'm really grateful for that, especially since it's gonna cost the country $2 trillion over the next 10 years. Lastly, I do want to express my gratitude for showing how strong the country is by directing Border Patrol agents to pepper spray migrant women and children. You know, that really proves how strong we are as a country and how our leadership is just big league. And finally, you continue to demonstrate your true bravery through your tweets, especially when you complain about SNL making fun of you. So again, thank you, Mr. President. I really appreciate all your hard work. Bitch.
I didn't expect that last part. You know,
I did that as a joke, and the editors kept it in. So
okay. So I'm glad you pressed that you hung up before saying that, because there's some chance that they will relay that to him. They're not that bright. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, you should hear this one message. I mean, this woman is totally into you. I mean, she thanked you like 5 different times, like macing the women and kids in the face. She thought that was strong, right? Okay, now, as usual with this stuff, let's break it down. If Trump was someone in your life, like whenever you think about it, like I remember when he said, you know, there's 2 things I'm best known for in my life: being mentally stable and like a smart person, okay? Somebody in your real life said that, you'd like literally call the police, like he's obviously needs medication.
Let's make sure he doesn't have weapons.
Right, exactly, right? So in this case, could you imagine somebody comes to your house, like a friend, because you know what? I need you to call this hotline to thank me, okay? That's what you need to do, thank me. Yeah. But like anybody, I mean, imagine, okay, now even if it's like politics or media, imagine Sean Hannity does a thing where, you know what? I need you to thank me, okay? It's preposterous, But imagine Obama did it. oh my God, what would Fox News do? If Obama did an ad saying, I need all Americans to call to thank me because I've been so goddamn great. You know what I'm saying? I've been so strong, you should thank me for it.
You know what Fox News would do? What we're doing right now?
Yeah, maybe.
Probably not as funny, but they would like lose it over it.
Yeah, and so just if you're wondering why, and I like that they couldn't get any actor to do that. Is that Brad Pascal, the guy you saw that oaf from Beyond the Wall? Okay, that thug is his campaign manager. So the campaign manager had to do the ad. He's like, nobody else gonna step up? Nobody else? All right. Yeah, you should thank Mr. President Donald Trump. Call this number, okay? Which campaign manager stars in a campaign ad? And what's DonaldJTrump.com/TV? Are they already planning for Trump TV after he is impeached?
Probably.
No, seriously, that's not a government website.
So yeah, it is not a government website. Also, look, I think that journalists, even though this seems like a joke of a story on the surface, I think journalists should look into this because this is an effort to fundraise for Trump's re-election campaign. That's what this is really about.
Of course.
And so if he's directing people to go to a non-government website to raise the money, is that problematic? Like, I don't know if there are any issues there.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't go to a government website to raise for his campaign, but I don't know why it's /TV.
There's something
weird,
strange about that.
Okay, so, and then just in case you were wondering what the purpose is, in their mind, it's a win-win because they're like, oh, we get to brag about Donald Trump. And I don't know if they're collecting phone numbers. So there might be a reason why they're asking you to call in so that later they can text you to get out the vote, to fundraise, etc. Look, and progressives do it too, okay? I mean, when they call for impeachment and then collect all your emails, etc., right? In this case, they're collecting your phone numbers, which might be even more valuable. So buyer beware. I know you want to go and leave messages like Anna did, but just so you know.
Star 67 still works. So if you want to leave a call thanking the president, you can shield your number.
Okay, don't say anything physical, okay? The Secret Service will come for you. Don't do that. Otherwise, have fun.
Yeah. All right, you know what? I'm gonna do one more story before we go to break, and it's an update on Michael Flynn, so let's get to it. Michael Flynn was set to be sentenced today. However, the judge has decided to postpone his sentencing if he agreed to a specific deal. So at Flynn's sentencing hearing, Judge Emmett Sullivan actually called Flynn's crimes, quote, a very serious offense and said he was not hiding his disgust at what Mr. Flynn had done. So Flynn had lied to the FBI about a number of things, including his conversations with a Russian ambassador, but he also lied about the fact that he was essentially a foreign agent. He was doing work on behalf of the Turkish government. And he, again, had not been forthcoming about those things when he was being questioned by the FBI. Now, the judge continued to say, all along, you were an unregistered agent of a foreign country while serving as the national security advisor. Arguably, that undermines everything that this flag over here stands for. Arguably, you sold your country out. Now, Flynn does face some time in prison, even though prosecutors have asked for leniency in this case because he has cooperated with prosecutors, especially in the Russia investigation. So Flynn does face up to 6 months in prison, but federal prosecutors have recommended a lenient sentence, including the possibility of probation because Flynn has provided, quote, substantial help with multiple criminal inquiries, okay? So, until now, we were unsure of what other criminal investigations he was involved in, or at least helping in. But just this week, we found out what he is actually assisting prosecutors with. So on Monday, federal prosecutors unsealed an indictment featuring 2 of Flynn's former business associates of conspiring with Turkey in 2016 to pressure the United States to expel a rival of President Erdogan. Prosecutors said Flynn aided them in the case.
Okay, so let's break this down. There'll be hilarious Trump excuses in a second, but first, I want to give my assessment of the seriousness of the different charges. So he lied to the FBI. Sure, that's a serious charge. For me, it depends more. For the law, it doesn't depend at all. He lied to the FBI, that's a very serious charge, sad day for him, right? In terms of how much I would want prosecutors to press on that, I'd ask why, what was he lying about? Okay, so we'll come back to that in 1 second. The second charge, I think, is massive, and partly why he might be cooperating with them on the first charge, which is the being an unregistered foreign agent for Turkey. You know, the plan was to kidnap someone in Pennsylvania and somehow get them over to the Turkish government. And Michael Flynn was participating in that. That's nuts. And so that's a massive, crazy crime. And then he's still an unregistered foreign agent when he's our national security advisor. Beyond unacceptable. So to me, that's a far more serious crime. And the fact that he's not going to get likely not going to get any jail time for that. I mean, you had to have a lot of cooperation to get there, if you ask me.
So let me jump in, because the cooperation is really key here. Based on the judge's statements, it appeared that the judge did take these crimes seriously and was willing to sentence him to incarceration if he didn't agree to a deal with the judge. So what's the deal? The judge essentially told him, we can postpone your sentencing until after you have completed your involvement in these various investigations. And so what was implied by the judge is that he is unlikely to serve any time behind bars if he continues to cooperate with investigators and agrees to this deal. If he were to not agree to the deal, then it was likely that he could have been sentenced to some time behind bars.
So now let me tell you what's happening behind the scenes, because Flynn's lawyer did a little gambit. I think that's what might have set off the judge, where right as they were going to go to sentencing, he suggested that perhaps the FBI was not clear with Flynn before they sat down that this was an official investigation and he should not lie to the FBI. Now, why did they do that? That was them dipping their toe in the water and seeing if Trump was going to pardon them right away. Because basically saying, hey, President Trump, we're giving you an excuse here. And Trump jumped all over it in one case, in one sense, by saying, oh, you see that? Poor Michael Flynn, the FBI didn't tell him they were the FBI. And he's poor little national security advisor, former Defense Intelligence Agency chief, retired 3-star general. He couldn't possibly know that lying to the FBI is a crime. I mean, what a preposterous defense. What an insane defense. That defense is so bad, sounds like Rudy Giuliani came up with it. And so, of course, Fox and Friends were all over it. They were saying, well, maybe he thought they were just buddies talking. When the FBI comes to question you about a case, they are not your buddies.
Also, yeah, and he was asked by the judge if he felt that he was tricked into lying to the FBI, and he very specifically said, no, I knew that it was a crime to lie to the FBI. So that is relevant. That happened just today.
Yeah, and so that goes to the second part. So they do that little gambit. Trump jumps all over, and he's like, and so does Fox. Oh yeah, poor Flynn, FBI tricked him, etc. Right? But Trump does not give him a pardon, and that would have been outrageous. But since he didn't get the pardon, Flynn's like back in the same situation. He might get some jail time. So when the judge says, hey, go back and cooperate a little bit more, and then you might not get jail time. All right, now Flynn's made his decision, because in court, he said what Anna just told you, which is, no, the FBI did not trick me. I knew I was lying to them. I'm totally guilty. So now he has no more outs. He has to go cooperate even more with the prosecutors, which then finally leads us back to, why did he lie in the first place? So if they asked him about, I don't know, look, these are all bad, but I would understand, if he cheated on his taxes, he cheated on his wife, etc. It depends on the context in which they're asking him that. These are all illegal, but you can make different political judgments about it, right? But in this case, why did he lie? No. It wasn't about any of that. It was because he had met with the Russians and talked about sanctions. But wait, that's the core of the corruption here, and the core of why the Russians wanted to collude. Remember, the sanctions against the oligarchs put into place by Obama. They hate those sanctions because it affects their pocketbooks. Vladimir Putin and all of his top allies in Russia are affected by those sanctions. So that is the actual collusion between the Trump campaign and administration and Russia. So Flynn is at the heart of that. And so that's why when the FBI comes and says, did you meet with the Russian ambassador? He's like, no, Russian ambassador, what name so, right? he lied about it to cover up the underlying problem, which is that they were having a conversation about lifting the sanctions for the Russians after they did Trump the solid of helping him get elected. So how much evidence has Flynn given about that? So how much did he communicate with Trump about it? How much was it a quid pro quo? That's at this point impossible to know the details of it. But is it about the core of the issue? Absolutely, no question about it. So that's why tick, 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 tick. With today's events took what was a really bad situation for Donald Trump and made them even worse, because now Flynn is going to cooperate even further with prosecutors about the underlying problem.
Now, before news broke indicating that he had accepted the judge's deal and the sentencing will be postponed, Trump had tweeted about this. And his tweet seemed pretty measured, all things considered. He's usually not measured at all. And I want to just share what he had to say. He said, "Good luck today in court to General Michael Flynn. Will be interesting to see what he has to say, despite tremendous pressure being put on him about Russian collusion in our great and obviously highly successful political campaign. There was no collusion." So I read you that because there was collusion. I mean, the way that he communicates through Twitter on this very issue, this is my read, obviously, makes it abundantly clear that there was collusion.
Of course, of course. It's like a guy walking into a room and for no reason at all going, "I'm not gay." I don't know why you would say that. I'm definitely not gay. And you'd be like, "All right, dude, nobody cares. What's going on," right? Yeah. Now, in this case, of course, a lot of people care, but he keeps screaming into the abyss, "There's no," when the heart of this case is obviously about collusion. That's why he lied in the first place. That's why he met with the Russians in the first place. So he's in a world of trouble. And this whole thing of like, "Hey, Michael Flynn, oh, you're a good guy, they treated you badly, stay with me." That's not gonna work, you're such a knucklehead. Like, look, he's just too stupid to do an effective cover up.
Yes.
Like, you can't just nudge the guy. He already did his gambit. You should have known. You either pardon him now or that's it. He's gonna turn even more evidence against you. He can't see simple things like that, which I'm thrilled about because it makes him much more likely to get caught. And that's why I premised the idea that he'll never make it to the end of his term. Just too dumb to cover things up. In fact, last thing I'll say about that is, in the Michael Cohen case, speaking of the tweets, he tweeted out about how Michael Cohen's a rat. Who talks like that? Well,
a mob boss.
Exactly. There's a literal answer to that. Mobsters talk like that. No innocent person goes, "Oh, why did he rat me out? What a rat, giving all the information to the cops."
Yeah, if you're innocent, what is there to rat about?
What is there to rat about?
Yeah, he can't be a rat unless he has dirt on you.
But that's so obvious. That's why I keep telling you, the one thing that people still underestimate is his level of stupidity. Who would be dumb enough to call someone a rat when they're being investigated? That's like raising your hand and saying, "I did it, and I wish he didn't turn evidence against me."
It's pretty amazing. It really is. And my advice to anyone who was involved in the Trump campaign or is currently somehow involved in Trump, if you find yourself in the middle of an investigation, cooperate with prosecutors. If you are waiting on Trump to do you any favors, you're in a lot of trouble. Cooperate with the prosecutors. It's a safer bet to go in that direction if you're trying to avoid time in prison.
Yeah, pull the chute, dude. That's my advice. Pull the chute. Get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
Anyone left on that ship, you want to talk about rats. Okay, they should be scurrying for the exits right about now.
Let's take a break. When we come back, a former editor for the National Enquirer opens up about possible criminal activity by Jared and Ivanka.
Oh, that's an amazing story. I mean, just when you think they can't break records on lying, not only is there hilarious lies in that story, but man, tick, 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 and now it's the kids. Is all I gotta say. We'll be right back. All right, back on TYT. Catlin Souza from Montana gave $50 on Amplify program. Thank you, we appreciate it. There's so many more media figures out there. Morning Joe, New York Times, Washington Post. They all need Young Turks membership to get the progressive message to them, tyt.com/amplify. Please check out the list, see if you would like to participate in any way. Now let me go to member comments. Jane Locke says, oh damn, we all need to follow Anna's lead. I imagine on that Trump story and the phone call, that was fun. JP says, that was a real ad for Trump?
We need to talk about a relatively new show called the Republic, or UNFTR. As a Young Turks fan, you already know that the government, the media, and corporations are constantly peddling lies that serve the interests of the rich and powerful. But now there's a podcast dedicated to unraveling those lies, debunking the conventional wisdom. In each episode of the Republic, or UNFTR, the host delves into a different historical episode or topic that's generally misunderstood or purposely obfuscated by the so-called powers that be, featuring in-depth research, razor-sharp commentary, and just the right amount of vulgarity. The UNFTR podcast takes a sledgehammer to what you thought you knew about some of the nation's most sacred historical cows. But don't just take my word for it. The New York Times described UNFTR as consistently compelling and educational, aiming to challenge conventional wisdom and upend the historical narratives that were taught in school. For as the great philosopher Yoda once put it, you must unlearn what you have learned. And that's true whether you're in Jedi training or you're uprooting and exposing all the propaganda and disinformation you've been fed over the course of your lifetime. So search for UNFTR in your podcast app today and get ready to get informed, angered, and entertained all at the same time.
How incredibly sad.
Yeah.
Agreed. Mr. Hatton Clog says they better start taking bail money donations instead of campaign donations. Elbow from the sky. Winsong says Flynn hasn't told Mueller everything. He hasn't talked about the triumvirate between Donald Trump, Flynn, and Putin. Why else would Donald Trump treat Flynn just like he treats Putin? That's an interesting point. I hadn't quite thought of that. In fact, thanks for reminding me. I just want to quickly point out for all the people who are like, oh yeah, FBI tricked Flynn into lying, and that's outrageous. It's terrible. It's no big deal that he lied to the FBI. Donald Trump's reason for firing Flynn in the first place was that he lied to Mike Pence. Oops. They seem to have conveniently forgotten that at Fox News. Okay, Mermaidum says this is reminding me of the hilariously ignorant, I asked if he was a cop. They have to tell you if they're a cop. And on Twitter, Sedway says, I've been watching TYT Live since I moved to Mexico 4 years ago. Finally joined with Anna. Although I love Brett and Ben and John and Brooke too, I had to give it to Anna for the win. What, okay, I guess my new...
I'm starting to feel a little bad.
Oh, don't you dare. That would be the most unacceptable part. Anyway, my new nickname, #ChopLiver. We got the sheet of signups. I've been trying to catch up to Anna for now forever, it seems. Yesterday, she had an 81-person lead. She had increased her lead. So now it's been chopped down to 88. I can't understand how she adds to her lead every day. Anyway, I'm going to catch you in the end, I'm telling you. Tesla and a series of numbers says, Postmates was awesome, still wiping away the tears of laughter, thank you. So Postmates was so popular that it crashed our app this morning. Okay, is that why our app really crashed? I don't know, but still. But everybody was trying to download it, but that is now fixed. So you can also get it in podcast form on our app, tyt.com/app. You can get it, of course, on the website if you're a member, the video version as well. So tyt.com/join to become a member to get that. And obviously, like I said, we still have free week trial at tyt.com/holiday. Watch the wonderfully awkward moments with John and Brooke. Anyway, Joshua Windsor says, thank you for being one of the best voices of progressives around the world. Too strong, much love from New Zealand. And that was in YouTube Super Chat. Thank you, Joshua. Much love to you as well. All right, and do I have anything else? You got the 20% off on shoptyt.com, Hostmates. Oh, hello, I knew there was something. Second hour today is members only. So you've got an amazing show for you guys. But look, we need the members to be sustainable and be homo progressives. So this is a perfect time to join. So tyt.com/join, please. Okay. All right, Anna, what's next?
All right. The National Enquirer has been given immunity in the investigation of illegal campaign contributions for the Trump campaign. Now, the National Enquirer assisted Donald Trump and Michael Cohen in killing a story involving one of Trump's alleged mistresses. Now, with that said, an ex-National Enquirer editor was on Ari Melber's show on MSNBC to talk about his experiences when he was working for the tabloid. And he had some pretty interesting things to say. Let's take a look at the first part.
Do you have reason to believe Mr. Pecker knew other incriminating things about Trump that have not come out?
Yes, certainly.
Do you know what any of those are?
I know some of them. And there are stories involving, of course, the Trump-Kushner family. There are stories of, sibling rivaling with the children, backbiting, discord with his wife.
Would you describe them, because obviously we're talking about things that haven't come out and we obviously haven't verified them, but would you characterize them as merely embarrassing, if you will, or do any of them arise to the level of being potentially criminal?
Well, actually both. I mean, they're certainly embarrassing. And then when you get involved with, the actions of his children, including his daughter and son-in-law, we're getting closer to criminal activity.
Whoa, okay, that came out of nowhere. So this story has a hilarious component as well, which we're gonna get to in a little bit. But why in particular Jared and Ivanka on the criminal activity as opposed to Donald Trump? We already know the criminal activity related to Donald Trump in the National Enquirer. They paid the hush money for him, which is an illegal campaign contribution. And he is potentially a co-conspirator in that felony. And that's certainly what the prosecutors seem to indicate in what they have made public so far. They don't list his name, they call him individual one, but it's obviously Donald Trump. But Ivanka and Jared. So let's listen a little bit more here, and then I'm gonna tell you what we think he might be referring to, which also relates to the hilarious part. So let's watch the second clip.
And when you say another shoe to drop, can you give us any more insight on what you're talking about?
I think there's, I think the special that they racked last winter is particularly curious. It was racked at Walmart. It was a glossy. It had the cover of it had a picture of the prince on the cover. There were pictures of President Trump inside.
The prince
and it seemingly came out of left field. It wasn't the typical American media product.
Which prince?
MBS.
And so you're talking about your belief that there may be some other financial incentive for some of that coverage?
I certainly do.
And do you have, I have to ask this, do you have any specific evidence of that, or that's just what folks are talking about that you know at AMI?
It smells fishy. In addition to shortly after that cover was racked, American Media, which is basically a cash poor company, somehow came up with the funding to buy up their competitors from the Bauer organization.
Okay, so what is he referring to? And when we looked into it, because I'm sorry that I'd missed this at the time, because it is glaring. The company that makes the National Enquirer put out a magazine called The New Kingdom, and it's 100 pages, no ads, and all it does is tell you how awesome Mohammed bin Salman is and how great the Saudi kingdom is. In fact, in it they call it the Magic Kingdom. As if it's Disneyland.
Yeah, they Disneyfy it.
Yeah.
But one other thing that I want to mention quickly is you're right. All it is like a glowing magazine about Mohammed bin Salman. It refers to Saudi Arabia as our closest Middle East ally destroying terrorism.
That's, of course, as usual, not the ally part, but destroying terrorism is the exact opposite. They have funded terrorism throughout the world. Okay, now let's get to some of the funny parts before we get to why on God's green earth is this happening? mention what Anna said. They call it the Magic Kingdom. And then they have all this glowing stuff. They say Mohammed bin Salman is controlling a staggering $4 trillion business empire. He's building a $640 billion sci-fi city of the future. And then his main goal is, I swear to you, I'm not kidding, quote, spreading happiness. I mean, spreading body parts is more like it, but that's this insane magazine that was put out. They said his economic diversification isn't just about protecting the rich elite. Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince of Saudi Arabia, is all about the poor and the middle class. Hilarious. He's turning Saudi Arabia into a, quote, a global investment powerhouse, a tech hub. And get this, the city he's going to build is a, quote, utopian city, the likes of which the world has never seen. I mean, it is one absurdity after another after another. And they were charging $13.99 for this and printed 200,000 copies. Who the hell would buy that, right? No, it's obvious. It's literally the most obvious propaganda piece I have ever seen in my life. And so, of course, there's not a single critical thing of him. And interestingly enough, it's not just pictures of Mohammed bin Salman in Saudi Arabia. And they also like go nuts about how awesome the country of Saudi Arabia is. They talk about their falcon hunting and their horse racing. And they talk about their vegetation and animals and how wonderful this place is. So then they asked the American Media Incorporated back then when it first came out, they're like, so no one paid you guys for this? You just decided that maybe Americans will gobble this up and it'll be a great selling magazine? They're like, yeah, that's right. Nobody paid for it at all. It's not at all propaganda. No, we just thought it'd be a bestseller.
No, and let me add again, emphasize what you said earlier. There were no ads in this magazine, which means they didn't make, well,
if anyone bought it for $14,
right?
Okay,
well,
yeah. I can't imagine anyone did.
But there was no ad space in the magazine. So
right.
What was their incentive? There had to have been an incentive in publishing this.
Of course. I mean, look, I will guarantee it to you. I'll bet any amount of money that that the Saudis and or the Trump organization, people involved in the Trump organization, paid for this. Of course they did. So why the Trump organization? How are they connected? First of all, David Pecker, who runs National Enquirer, is friends with Donald Trump. He does propaganda for him all the time, not just on the hush money, which he has now admitted on the mistresses, covering up all of his affairs, but he did positive propaganda for Donald Trump throughout his career, and then during the campaign, he did negative stories about his opponents. Ted Cruz's dad killed JFK, and Ted Cruz had 5 mistresses, which might be even more absurd than the Saudi piece, right? So that's the connection to the Trumps, but also the person who is featured the second most in this magazine, number 1 is Mohammed bin Salman. Second is Donald Trump. And Salman is quoted as saying Donald Trump is a president who will bring America back on the right track. And so obviously AMI got paid for it. Now it doesn't matter what the speculation is because David Pecker has turned evidence. So he has already told prosecutors, very, very likely, this is a second case about who paid for this magazine in the second case. And if it turns out that people of the Trump organization coordinated payments to National Enquirer and funneled money from Saudi Arabia, well, that's collusion number 2. So look, it's not, if Trump was a private citizen and he's just brokering this weird business deal, that's his business, right? But is there something connected to politics here when they're supposed to be serving the people of the United States of America, but instead they're serving a foreign country? And did they get something in return? So that's why the former editor of the National Enquirer, the guy you just saw, saying, hey, they should look at Ivanka and Jared Kushner, meaning they might have arranged this deal. And did they get something financial in return from the Saudis? Woo, that's bad news for the Trump administration and for Trump himself. Because the one way that I've been telling you from literally day one that he resigns is they say, Donald, we got you and Ivanka. What are you gonna do now? So
in the end of what Jerry George said, Jerry George is the former editor at the National Enquirer, he said something about a media acquisition between the National Enquirer, AMI, and something else. So it could be, money or some sort of funding that they've received for creating this magazine in order to help with that acquisition? I don't know, but it appears that he knows something. And it's not really our job or anyone's job other than investigators to look into it to see if there were any crimes committed in any type of deal here.
MAGA guys, just hold your powder dry on your lies and absurd defenses here. Because remember, Pecker already turned in the evidence. You're gonna be proven wrong, in a matter of time.
They don't care.
So I know, but I can picture them now in their stupid ass red hats, like, no, the Crown Prince is a great guy. He said that the National Enquirer and Donald Trump, they did a wonderful job in promoting this Muslim fundamentalist dictator who chops up people. It was a hot seller. That's why they did it. You know what the National Enquirer claimed at the time? They're like, what? It was a feature like we'd done on Elvis and the Beatles. Oh.
Come on.
So, all right, good luck to you, brothers. But looks like, again, the Trump family is in a world of trouble. Tick, 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 tick.
I was just about to say.
Tick, 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 tick.
Yeah.
Oh, Ivanka. Orange might look good on her.
Oh, it's so your color. Oh my God.
Well, it might be soon.
All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, Roger Stone, more legal trouble. We'll tell you what happened when we
finally has admitted at least one set of lies that he has done, but in a spectacular fashion. You're gonna love that story. We hope you're enjoying this free clip from the Young Turks. If you want to get the whole show and more exclusive content while supporting independent media, become a member at tyt.com/join today. In the meantime, enjoy this free segment. All right, back on the Young Turks, get a load of this thermometer action. A little tyt.com/join. Let me see this thing. We were at 600 something? No, 500 something?
500 something.
576, that's what we started at today. Let me see where it is right now.
Whoa,
what is this? At TYT, we frequently talk about all the ways that big tech companies are taking control of our online lives, constantly monitoring us and storing and selling our data. But that doesn't mean we have to let them. It's possible to stay anonymous online and hide your data from the prying eyes of big tech. And one of the best ways is with ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN hides your IP address, making your active ID more difficult to trace and sell to advertisers. ExpressVPN also encrypts 100% of your network data to protect you from eavesdroppers and cyber criminals. And it's also easy to install. A single mouse click protects all your devices. But listen, guys, this is important. ExpressVPN is rated #1 by CNET and Wired magazine. So take back control of your life online and secure your data with a top VPN solution available, ExpressVPN. And if you go to expressvpn.com/TYT, you can get 3 extra months for free with this exclusive link just for TYT fans. That's expressvpn.com/TYT. Check it out today.
Almost. We're getting there.
All right, can I see 39,700? All right, so in the second hour today, which is just for members. Now, our broadcasting partners will continue to get the program, of course, as usual. But for the live audience, Donald Trump's charity goes under. Amazing stories that are coming out of that. Green New Deal, insanely popular. I can't wait to tell you about it. And then, of course, the mainstream media will do a progressive embargo on it. And then how much did the average worker get from the Trump tax cuts? All amazing stories. Let me just give you a couple of quick comments here. Colin says, given a choice between the deep state and fascists, I'm with the deep state. These are the times that we're in. We're having to make insane choices like that. But I hear you, Colin. I just don't even, which is the best member handle. First name is I just. The second name is don't even. It's true. You can become a member, you'll see it. He says, yes, the propaganda is kind of funny, but it's also dark as hell. These are unbelievably dark times.
Yes.
And Shahara writes in, I feel like several MAGA people just set their TVs on fire in the front yard after hearing that last segment. Okay, one could only hope. Mr. Rustard on Twitter says, I'm looking forward to seeing what Ivanka can come up with to spruce up that orange suit. And VVV0 says, Saudi Arabia, come for the terrorism, stay for the murder. National Enquirer should have tried that in their propaganda for them. All right, so, and one more thing. Remember, guys, it is a free week of trials here. So tyt.com/holiday gets you a free week of Young Turks membership so you can try it out. All right, Anna, what's next?
All right. Following a defamation lawsuit, Roger Stone has admitted to spreading lies about a self-exiled Chinese businessman living here in the United States. Now, he slandered the man on InfoWars and has now been forced to apologize for it. And even though he was sued for a large amount of money, $100 million to be exact, he has agreed to instead put out advertisements admitting that he had lied about this individual's reputation. Now, the agreement requires Stone to run ads in national newspapers, including the Wall Street Journal, apologizing for making defamatory statements about a Chinese businessman who is a vocal critic of Beijing. That's part of the reason why he's living here in the United States. It also requires Stone to publish a retraction of the false statements on social media. Doing so exempts him from paying any of the damages. Now, I want to also just side note mention that he keeps talking about how, all these legal troubles and it's so expensive and I don't know how I'm gonna pay for all of this. And so he's fundraising, trying to get people to pay for his legal expenses. Now, I have no doubt that there are some legal expenses because he's a bad guy and he's involved in all sorts of shady stuff. But he will not have to pay that $100 million amount. Like, he is gonna put out those ads, but that's it. Also, Stone was also accused of violating US election laws by making political donations. Wait, what?
Stone
Oh, okay, sorry about that. I misread that. So come back to me, let's take that part out. So what did he say? How did he defame this Chinese businessman? Well, apparently, according to this settlement, it resulted from this lawsuit by the Chinese businessman who sued Stone for falsely accusing him of being a turncoat criminal who is convicted of crimes here and in China. That's what he said when he was on InfoWars. He further said or accused this businessman of violating US election laws, this is very funny and ironic, by making political donations to Hillary Clinton. So foreigners cannot make campaign contributions to US politicians. But Roger Stone lied and said that this Chinese businessman did so. Finally, the Chinese businessman claimed that Mr. Stone was paid to make the defamatory remarks about him on InfoWars. He said the payment ultimately came from a Chinese American media tycoon named Bruno Wu, who this Chinese businessman Guo previously accused of being a spy for the Chinese government. Now,
Bruno Wu and Guo are in a legal contest as well, accusing each other of several different things. But here's a couple of really important takeaways. Now, look, it's wonderful that there's at least a little bit of justice that is finally visited upon Roger Stone. And as I told you before, we were, of course, as always, shown to be right. He is, in this case, literally a proven liar, an adjudicated liar. And so that's a statement that you could say about him to the end of time. Everybody knows he's a liar. He brags about lying. But in this case, the second part's more important. It's fun to talk about, they got Roger Stone. It's a bad guy, we all know it, etc. But an InfoWars putting things on there that is not factual. And and the sun rises, and in the east goes down in the west. The sky is blue, the grass is green. We all know that, but having it go to court and then a settlement, et cetera, is a different animal altogether. But the second part's the important part. Look, the Chinese government does not like that Guo is criticizing them, and they made up some charges against them, and they want him back, kind of like the Saudis wanted Jamal Khashoggi back, and. So when Roger Stone makes up lies about him and says he committed crimes in China and committed crimes here in America, well, it could have led to his deportation to China, where God knows what would have happened to him. Certainly prison for an incredibly long time. It appears completely unjustly. And remember, Roger Stone is deeply connected to Donald Trump. He's the man who convinced Trump to run in the first place. Could he have gotten Trump to then say, hey, look, the Chinese are looking for him, and actually send him back? I mean, we just saw that Trump, for an ally or someone he thinks is, if something benefits him, let the Saudis chop up a guy. So in this case, it's not funny. Roger Stone was looking to ruin this guy's life for money and didn't mind sending him back to a gulag and perhaps even to be killed at some point. The Chinese have absurd laws on execution for a variety of offenses. I don't know that that would have happened to Guo in this case, but I tell you, I wouldn't want to be Guo if he got sent back to China. And Roger Stone is a despicable person who would have done that to another human being, full well knowing that he's lying. He got paid to lie. And he thinks, oh, I ruined that guy's life, and he has to spend maybe the rest of his life in a Chinese prison, and his family's ruined and everything is ruined, but I made an extra $1. Of course I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
That's how, these are the monsters that we're dealing with.
So, and I also wanna note that the settlement does make one thing absolutely clear. So remember, the accusation was that there was a Chinese businessman who had basically given this information to Stone, and then Stone had defamed the plaintiff in this case, right? Now, Stone's settlement, this is noted in the settlement, identifies Mr. Wu, that's the businessman, as the apparent source of the information about Guo, and says it was conveyed to him by a former member of Mr. Trump's presidential campaign.
That's Sam Nunberg.
Yeah.
So now, speaking of Trump, there's another relationship here. Trump, of course, is back Stone all the way. Why? Because Stone has a lot of incriminating evidence on Donald Trump on probably a number of issues, and he is not cooperating with Mueller. So Trump keeps tweeting about how Stone's got guts, okay? Whereas Michael Cohen is a rat. I mean, how much like a mobster does he sound? It's ridiculous. He's like, that guy won't turn evidence against me. He's got guts, he's a good guy. The other one's a rat giving all the evidence. You idiot, you're accidentally admitting that you did it, right? But he's too stupid to realize that. But what's his main claim about Roger Stone and why he should be believed over Robert Mueller and the entire FBI? He says he has a lot of credibility. He is, in this case, literally a proven liar. Trump looks at that and does not see that as the bug, he sees it as the feature. And then he goes out and makes the preposterous case that Roger Stone has credibility, and that's why we should believe him over the FBI. Okay, Trump's a criminal, he's trying to cover his tracks. Roger Stone's a criminal, Roger Stone's a liar. These are now, at least some of it as you see here, like the lying part is clearly proven and admitted to, and he's gonna have to put it all over the papers. I'm a liar, I'm a liar, I'm a liar. And he tried to just absolutely destroy this guy's life. He's such a terrible person. But for all you MAGA guys, really? You think Roger Stone is the one that's credible? And Donald Trump is the one that's credible? Okay, listen, if you choose to be a moron, that's up to you. Nothing I could do about that. And Fox News, oh my God, defending guys like Roger Stone, it's humiliating, man. And by the way, thank you though. We appreciate you showing your true face. Through all of this, we got to see who the good guys and bad guys are. Before you could have said, hey, look, some people just have difference of opinion, and that turned out to be true in some cases. Chris Wallace has been pretty vigilant in holding conservatives accountable. He's still a conservative, I still disagree with him. Napolitano is very conservative, but has been absolutely vigilant about what's true and not true. So those are the heroes, even though I totally disagree with them on every other issue. Shep Smith has been vigilant. Almost everyone else at Fox News, Fox and Friends, Sean Hannity, Harris Faulkner lately, total embarrassments defending these monsters and obvious liars. And that goes on your career for the rest of the time. Enjoy that.
One final point I want to add to this that actually doesn't have anything to do with Roger Stone is the fate for Guo in America. I would be worried if I were him. If Trump continues to be in charge, he has made it very clear that he has no problem holding certain individuals hostage or using certain individuals in negotiations with China. So negotiations regarding trade, for instance, right? And so we have decided to convince Canadian authorities to basically arrest a CEO from China. And Trump has made it clear that, hey, maybe I can intervene in this case if it'll help with the trade negotiations with China. Look, I'm bringing that up because that is unprecedented and that is not the way America is supposed to operate. We don't hold people hostage in the middle of trade negotiations.
All right, so second hour is just for members, tyt.com/join. It's only $4.99. If you want to do $10 activist member, you do get more perks, and we appreciate it. And on that category, I'm almost even with Anna, so tyt.com/jenk. But you can do a free trial right now at tyt.com/holiday. We'll see you after the break. Thanks for listening to the full episode of The Young Turks. Support our work, listen ad-free, access members-only bonus content, and more by subscribing to Apple Podcasts at apple.co/TYT. I'm your host, Cenk Uygur, and I'll see you soon.